So we all know Srila Prabhupada is a founder Acharya of an International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We could see that one man from this great land of India at the age of 70, he traveled across the globe. In just 11 years, 14 times he traveled across the globe. And what is impossible, he made it possible. He made a revolution at the age of 70. And today, he's the author of this book, Bhagavad Gita. All right? And we're going to speak from this book, Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. So yesterday we had a discussion of chapter 2, right? Now we'll have a quick summary on chapter 2 before we embark into chapter 3. That is Karma Yoga, which is very, very important chapter for us. I would say it's like a complete game changer. So I would request all of you to please pay your full attention so that we can try to get the best out of this class. Hare Krishna. So we spoke about the first part of the second chapter, taking shelter as a disciple. So we saw there was Arjuna's confusion and then he surrendered. We could see that Arjuna was emotionally overwhelmed and he refuses to fight. Then he finally surrenders to Krishna and accepts him as a spiritual master. And that's where actually Krishna starts speaking from second chapter. Then we spoke about I'm not this body, I'm soul. So we could see that Krishna is giving the knowledge about the soul which is eternal, saying about unchanging beyond birth and death. And we know that the body is temporary. So like clothes we change. We spoke about different slokas. Pasam, Jirnan, Yata, Vihaya. We spoke about that. And then finally, we spoke about what is the duty of a body and the soul. Especially we saw that Arjuna as a warrior, Kshatriya, Arjuna must perform his duty without fear or attachment. Then we could see how Arjuna was avoiding one's duty to dishonor and sin, then how Krishna explained him. Then finally we spoke about the last part, that is the characteristics of Krishna conscious devotees. So here we could see that a wise man, Siddha Prajna, a self-realized person, is free from desire and anger, is undisturbed, and is undisturbed in happiness and distress, and is always very peaceful, detached, and steady. That was about the second chapter we discussed yesterday. So today is a very, very important chapter, that is Karma Yoga. So before we get into this, everybody have heard this word, renunciation. What do you mean by renunciation? Is it leaving home? Is it going to a Himalayas and sit and do some meditation? Or just to stay in the temple or stay in the ashram, or do your duties but don't be attached. So many of us saying that do your duty but don't be attached. Yes, that is the right answer. Many people think renunciation means I should stop working, stop doing my duties, just go to forest and meditate. But what is Krishna is saying? Krishna is saying no. That's not the real meaning. He says, do your duty, but don't be attached to any result. It can be success or it can be failure. So he's giving an example. Suppose, let's say let's say somebody is studying an exam. You have an exam coming up. So do your best. Do your best, but you're not worried about whether I'm going to get 90% or 60%. So that's renunciation. Doing your karma, but not getting mentally stuck to the result. So in one line, I would say renunciation means giving up attachment to results, not giving up the action. You should do your best. You do your best, Lord will do the rest. But don't fail the test. That's why I'm telling you. I'm wishing you all the best. So I mean to say that do your best, leave the rest. But don't forget that I should not perform my action. You should do your action, but don't be attached for the result. Okay, so now let us now embark with the third chapter of today's session. That is chapter 3, Karma Yoga. So today we are starting the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the first chapter, Krishna is confused, much like we often also get confused. Last 2 days you heard the class. Some things you understood, some are like you're not clear. Arjuna surrendered to Krishna for guidance. So today we should also surrender ourselves in the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna, teaching Arjuna about the soul, explaining that we are not this body, we are soul. The soul can't be cut into pieces. It's indestructible. It's a Satchidananda. Then Arjuna also asked why there are suffering in the suffering if the soul is permanent. Why there is suffering. And Krishna explains that suffering comes from our actions and duties. So this chapter called Karma Yoga talks about how our actions shape our lives and how we can perform duties selflessly. So in this chapter, we have close to 43 verses. 43 verses, and we have divided this 43 verses into four parts. One is karmic bond. You can see in the screen. Second is stages of life. Then the real role model, the leader, and then the real enemy. Okay. So when it comes to karmic bond, we'll understand the effects of our actions. Then we have different stages of life. We'll speak about different stages of life. That is karmi. Karma Khanda, all these things we'll discuss, and then we'll speak about the leaders. We learn how to become a true leader. Generally, who is a leader who want to lead himself first, then lead others. I'm going a little fast today because today's chapter, I have so much to speak, but I just have 1 hour. So I'm just trying my best to make sure that, I try to, give the best today. And finally, we're going to speak about who is our real enemy. We'll discuss who is a real enemy in our spiritual journey. So keep in mind 4 things, okay? Karmic bond, stages of life, leaders, and the real enemy. So these 4 things we'll discuss one by one. It's very important. So let's begin with the sloka. It's from chapter 1.1 to 3.9. It's 3.1 verse. Arjuna Uvacha Jayase yat karmanaste mattha buddhi janardana tat kim karmani ghorma niyojayase Keshava. Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in the ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work. So yesterday we discussed that we have 2 duties. One is our bodily duty, Swadharma. Another one is a spiritual duty, Atmagnan. So if Atmagyan is more important than Swadharma because it's about the soul, not just physical action, then Arjuna says, I can just meditate and go back to God. Why do I need to fight? He's confused. He thinks if I do just Atmagyan, I just have more focus on soul. He doesn't need to do any physical duty like fighting. But Krishna didn't say we should leave everything. What he says we should do our duty with the right mindset, remembering him. Tasmat sarvashu kaleshu mam anuspara yuddhacha. So many people think that by leaving everything, they can reach God. But actually, Krishna actually says, do your duty and remember him while doing that. That is the right way. Now, we will see how do we do our actions properly. So now I have a question for you. What is the right way to reach God according to Krishna? Do your duties while remembering Krishna. So we are not this body, we are soul. We all know that. We discussed a lot yesterday. But by end of this 18 days, we should at least have the theoretic knowledge, that this is the truth. To realize fully that I'm not this body, I'm soul, it may take some time, But why do problems arise? I have this question. Why do problems arise? Because we still identify that I'm an Indian and I'm in America, I'm this body, this is my son, this is that, this is that. So when we live in a soul consciousness, problems don't disturb us. So, for example, think of a student who's MBBS student. He has learned, he has completed his MBBS, and you can learn all medicine in theory, but truly understand, you must work under a house surgeon, under a doctor for at least for a year. Similarly, understanding Bhagavad Gita deeply and practicing in life means it's a gradual progress. So it's a gradual progress. So if you can maintain your attendance every day, I can assure you that by end of the day, you will have an understanding that what is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is just not a book of information. It's a book of transformation. And that is why we are all here to know what this Bhagavad Gita going to teach us. Right? So look at this verse. It says, my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instruments, instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be the most beneficial for me. So Arjuna is still confused and is asking Krishna to clarify which path will be most beneficial for him. He says, you've spoken about Swadharma, duty of a body and the duty of a soul, Atmagnan. No, please tell me clearly which one of these is the best for me. So he wants Krishna to give the very decisive answer, and we are also very eager what exactly I should do now. Right? So it's a wonderful sloka. I'll just read the translation because of time constraint. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So I'll give an example. Let's say in this section, the main point that I want to share is that everything in life, such as food, air, water, and even our every way we do our own existence, is provided by the Lord. No human being, or scientist can create even the smallest part of what we receive from the world. Just imagine sunlight, just imagine mud, this is all created by the God, Since everything is given by the Lord, we must follow the guidance in performing our duties. Like, for example, when we perform our actions according to the Lord's instruction, then we can be free from the bonds of karma, the effects of our action. If we act without His guidance, then we create karma, which ties up like a material world, leading a cycle of happiness and suffering. So when we follow the Lord's teaching, we are liberated from the cycle of karma. And again, we gain the eternal happiness, And I'll give an example. Example is given of army. Like, for example, see, if a soldier kills according to the order by government, now government is saying you have to kill this enemies, When soldier is doing that, he will be rewarded. He will be rewarded. But let's say, and it's not a crime. Let's say government has not approved, but if you want to kill anybody who you want, then you will be punished. So the action may be the same. You're killing, but if government is approving you, that means it is a reward. But if you're doing whimsically whatever you want to do, then you are in a trouble. There will be a punishment. So I mean to say the action may be the same, but the intent and authority behind is what matter. Similarly, we must act according to the divine guidance given by the Lord. So doing so ensures that we are not bound by karma, and ultimately, it leads to liberation. Acting, like I'm saying, acting based on personal desires or without the Lord's direction, it keeps in bondage. So whatever you do it according to the law of nature, then you're safe. But if you do the way I want, then we're in trouble. So this is the principle that Krishna is emphasizing in this teaching. Now I'll ask you one quick question. Why should we follow Lord's guidance in our action? So to become free from karma and attain liberation. That's the right answer. Okay. Now let's get into the next slide of this presentation. So the life lesson, what we should learn from here is that when we are too direct our life according to the guidance of Bhagwan, we can get rid of all kinds of karmic bonds, then attain the Paramgati, the supreme goal. So I'll give an example. A thief who want to become a true sannyasi. So a thief who want to become a true sannyasi. So please pay attention. This story may change your life. Once a king declared, if I can find a perfect sannyasi, one who is fully detached, I will give him half of my kingdom. The minister searched far and wide, but couldn't find such a sannyasi. One day, he caught a thief, and he was about to punish him. The thief begged, please forgive me. I will never steal again. The minister had an idea. He said, do not favor for me. Just wear the dress of a sannyasi and meet the king. If he gives half the kingdom, we can share both of us. So minister and thief are like having a discussion. And I will reward you well. I will reward you well. The thief agreed, okay, fine, that's a good deal. Now, before the king dressed as a sannyasi and the thief appeared calm, detached. The king saw this thief, actually he was not knowing he's a thief. He's just dressed like a sannyasi, and he was very calm and he was like very detached in front of sannyasi, in front of the king. The king bowed and he offered respect and he gave 5,000 gold coins, and the sannyasi who was thief, he said, I don't want. The thief replied, I don't want. Then he gave another 10,000 coins. The king offered 10,000 coins. He said no. Then he increased 20,000, 50,000. Said no. Then he gave 5 villages. Said no. Then he gave 10 villages. No. Then he gave, the king gave his own daughter for his marriage. My daughter's hand in marriage. He said no. Finally, the king said, I'll give you my half of my kingdom. Still, the thief who was wearing sannyasi dress, he said, no. No, no. The king was overjoyed. Finally, he said, I found out through, through renunciation. Actually, this guy, this sannyasi, he was a thief, but he just had in mind, like whatever the king is offering is saying no, 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 no. Then finally, the minister asked the thief, hey, why did you rejected everything? When he said kingdom, supposed to say yes, nah. Then he said, see, why did I reject him? Because, the thief actually first paid respect to that minister. And he said, so you are my guru actually. When I rejected a small thing, I was being offered a greater thing. Then I thought, if I keep saying no to all the temporary things, I may get the greatest, most permanent thing. And that is the true inner peace and freedom. So finally, he gave up everything. And that person became a true sannyasi, a guru, because he was completely detached. So what I'm trying to say in this story is that just like a karma yoga, when we give up attachment to the fruits of action and desire, higher blessings come. That is because true renunciation isn't wearing the saffron. Somebody is wearing saffron, that doesn't mean they are true, sannyasi, but remaining unattached amidst temptation and aiming for the highest goal, that is spiritual realization. Then we can say, yes, he is a true sannyasi. Then we can declare that. So now, we just discussed the first part of the first part of this chapter, that is karmic bonding. Now we're talking about the stages of life. Okay, so here's a wonderful sloka. I'll read the translation. The devotees of Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Now, this is a big shock for all of you. What are you saying? We've been eating food for so many days. You're saying it's a sin. Actually, people often wonder, I have not done anything wrong. Then why am I suffering? We may think we haven't hurt anyone. We have not cheated anyone. We have not committed any sin. But the truth is, unknowingly, we commit small sins every day. For example, even when we eat food without offering to God, it becomes a sinful act. Now, you say, how is it possible? I never knew about this. Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those who eat food without offering to me is eating only sin. Why? Because everything, air, water, fire, food, everything is created by God, right? Not by us. If we use something without His permission, because He is the owner, it's like stealing. So when we want to eat food without offering to Krishna, it's like using his property without permission. Just like a child, must ask their father before taking money, right? But even though the father earned for the child only, in the same way, we should offer our food to Krishna before eating. Actually, it is the way of showing respect and gratitude, because offering food to God, that's eating without offering to the Lord's, that brings sin. So offering first brings purification and spiritual progress, because we know that He is a real owner, He is a real proprietor. So first thank Him, have that gratitude. That makes things very easy. So I mean to say, Krishna's guidance is simple. Whatever we do as an offering to Him, if we follow this slowly, we can become free from all karma. Of course, in later sessions, we'll be explaining how properly we have to cook, how to offer, how to pray before eating, what are the different ideas of all these things that we'll discuss in the next slide. Now, I've just explained you the simple part of this session. So now I am very curious to know what is your understanding. What happens when we eat food without offering to Krishna? So I have a polling for you now. Let me know. Be very genuine. Let me know what is your understanding till now. Okay. Okay. I've just launched the poll. What happens when we eat food without offering? It becomes tastier. It brings good luck. It increases knowledge, or it creates sin. Be very honest. It's okay because we all make mistakes. Be very honest. It brings good luck. Okay, it becomes tastier. Wow. Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So I'll end this poll so that you all can know what's the answer is. Okay. Okay. It creates sin. Yes. Actually, in the Gita, there's a very wonderful sloka. It says, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachate tadham bhakti upahartam asnami paridatmana. It says, if one offers me with love, devotion, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I'll accept it. So when you're offering something to the owner, not just taking permission, with the respect and gratitude, that becomes a karma-free food. It becomes a karma-free food. It becomes a prasad. And what is a prasad? Prasad means Prabhu ka sakshat darshan. That is called prasad. Now let us look at this slide. My dear, it says evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartitam vyaha agrayar indriyavamo mogam parto to jivati. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. So in Bhagavad Gita, in this verse, Lord Krishna is explaining an important truth about human life. He tells Arjuna that if someone does not follow the cycle of sacrifice, the system of giving and offering as instructed in the Vedas, then their life becomes full of sin. Now, what does it mean? It means that life is not just meant for enjoying food, comforts, or pleasure. Life also has a higher purpose, that is, to live in a harmony with the divine instructions, to offer things back to the God and act not selflessly, selfless, not selfishly, selflessly, And if we can ignore this principle and live only to enjoy ourselves, then we are breaking the natural spiritual law. So Krishna says that such a person lives in a pain, meaning they are wasting their human life. The human birth is special because out of 84 lakh species we've got this human life, and if we use it only for our selfish motive, like they say khane ka, pine ka, sone ka, this, no, just everything for me, I, me, and mine, without sacrifice, then we are missing the real goal. So now I have this question for you. What happens if we live only for a selfish enjoyment? Life becomes sinful. Good. Let me close this. Okay. Now, as I was telling you that today's chapter is going to become like a game changer. So this session very beautifully will explain you the three types of people based on how they relate to karma and God, and how we all move between these three stages of real life. So here's a clear summary in simple words. If you want, you can just take a snapshot of this. Take a snapshot, a photo of this. Karmi, Karmakanda, and Karma Yogi. Okay? Okay? Okay, I'm going to go further now. Okay? So Karmi, Karmakanda, Karma Yoga, whatever. So these are three types of people based on how, we relate to karma and God. Let's go one by one. Okay. It says karmis. Now, who are karmis? Karmis are like a materialistic person, They do not believe in God, They do not believe in scriptures, They always want to enjoy personal enjoyment, eating, sleeping, working, just, producing more children, reproduction, and their mindset is like a animal, like always sleeping, only focused on bodily needs, like I said, I, me, and mine, and work very hard, but only for self, no spiritual thinking. Like they're saying in English, today's phones have become cordless, cars have become keyless, Communication has become wireless. Cooking has become fireless. Food has become fatless. Sweets have become sugarless. The relationship has become meaningless. Attitude has become careless. Arguments have become tasteless. Youth has become jobless. Needs have become endless. And salaries have become less and less. And life has become hopeless. The reason is because all of us have become godless. We have become godless. So godless people, what they do, and they forget. But godly minded people, they give, and they forgive. So this is the what you see in the slide talks about the materialistic people, karmis. I hope we're not in that list now. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda are people who are like little selfish people, like they believe in God, they believe in Shastra, they worship God also, but only for their own personal desire. Only for their personal desire, they pray, God, give me good health, give me good job, give me good child. So if you see their mindset, they ask God, please give me this, give me that. They want to use God for their material benefit. Example, I would say they would go in front of temple, in front of the Lord, and they pray when that I have this problem. Like there's a song, right? They say now, Sukhi Sampat Ghar Ave, Swami Jai Jagadish Are. Like when they are in Sankat, they want to remember Venkat. When they're in Sankat, they won't remember Venkat. It's like that. I'll give you one quick example. I'll give you an example. There was one person who just got a good job and was very happy, and he got his first salary, and he was just coming back to home, and because of rain, storm, like he lost the path, and he just got into a jungle, and now he's very worried. He got his salary. He's very happy. He got married, but still, is he happy? No, he's not happy because he's now in distress because his path got diverted to a forest, jungle, whatever. So then he saw that no, does God exists? Because he's now remembering God. Then this, when there's Sankat, remembering Venkat. Then he remembered this God. Luckily, he saw there was one sadhu, sitting there and he was chanting the Lord's name. Then he got some solace. Maybe this person will come and will try to save me. So this person in a car, he went towards that Sadhuji where he was doing tapasya. He said, "Please do me a favor." He said, "What is that? I have lost my path and I have to go back home." The sadhu, very calm, very peaceful, he said, "It's too late now. You stay back overnight. Tomorrow morning you can leave." But the boy said, "No, no, no, no. I have to go now. I need to go." He was very stubborn. My way is the only way. But still, the sadhu tried to, express his desire. It's too late. Do not go. But he was insisting. The boy was insisting. Then the sadhu said, "Okay, fine. If that is what you want to do, I have a horse here." This sadhu had a horse, Goda, whatever you say. And there is one special mantra. If you can chant that mantra, just sit in the horse, it'll take you to your home. Oh, really? Wow. What's the mantra? Said the first mantra is, you should say, "Thank God." And the second mantra you should say, "Save me." That's it. Yeah, but remember, thank God means the horse starts moving. When you say "save me," the horse stops. So I would better, even now I say you, take a day today, overnight, just stay, memorize this mantra, and next day morning you leave. This boy said, "No, I know the mantra." You said, "No, thank God and save me." Thank God means the horse will go, and save me means the horse will stop. Simple. I know it. Then what happened? He sat on the horse. He said, "Thank God, thank God." The horse started moving and he became very happy. He thought, maybe I will reach in just few minutes. He said, "Thank God, thank God." The horse is still moving. And he was saying so much of thank God. The horse was going so fast that there was a mountain, there was a cliff. And after that, there's nothing. And this guy got scared. Oh my God, there's a cliff. Above that, I'm gonna die. So he said, "Thank God, thank God." The horse also very, loyal. He's increasing speed. Now, almost, what do you say? Okay, I don't want to use this one. Okay, almost. Okay, I'll use. Okay, let's say almost. No. This is the mountain. This guy is almost going here. Now he's supposed to fall. Luckily, he got that smaran. He got that memory. He said, "Save me," he said. Immediately, the horse also was very loyal. He just stopped, When he stopped, now he took a very long, deep breath. Then he said, "Thank God," he said. You know what he said? He said, "Thank God." When he said, "Thank God," the horse, boom, jumped. So what I meant to say is, when you do sometimes bhakti in a shortcut way, just for my purpose, I need God, then we are in a trouble. That's why we have to do it in a very systematic way. Practice, practice, practice. Because practice makes man perfect. So the example I want to give. And then let's get into the third one, Karma Yogi. Okay. Just one moment. Okay, I think you can see now, right? Okay, Karma Yogi. Okay, now, so one moment, I'm setting up my system here. Okay, fantastic. Okay, Karma Yogi. So we spoke about, we spoke about three things now. We spoke about Karmi, we spoke about Karma Khanda. Now we're talking about Karma Yogi. Or we can say Karma Yoga also. Karma Yogi, the same. So Karma Yogi is a selfless worker. He believes that God is there and he follows his instruction. If you see his lifestyle, he's very happy, he's very satisfied. He works for the satisfaction of the Lord. He doesn't have any personal gain. Whatever I do it for the Lord's pleasure. Even if he has a very hard time, he still follow the God's path sincerely. So most of us, like you, me, all of us, we all fall into these three categories. That is Karmi, Karma Kanda, and Karma Yogi. Now, in this Karma Yogi, we have two more divisions. What is that? That is because in Karma Yogi, what? We forget God. In Karma Kanda, we remember God only during problems. When there's Sankat, we remember Venkat. And in Karma Yogi, it's not like that. He lives with a devotion, bhakti. But now, this Karma Yogi has two more divisions. What is that? One is called Sakama Karma Yoga, one is called Niskama Karma Yoga. Now, Sakama Karma Yoga means follow God's will mostly, but still he has some self-desire. He's following the instructions, shastras, everything. But little bit of he has little bit of selfish desire. I want that, I want this, some kind of a motive he has. But in Niskama Karma Yoga, no. It's like fully surrender, not surrender, it's fully surrender. He works only for God's happiness and no selfish interest. No selfish interest, That's called Niskama Karma Yoga. So now, what is Niskama Karma Yoga in your understanding? I'm going to put this question for you now. I just explained to you what you mean by Niskama Karma Yoga. Work only for God with no selfish desire. So I'm going to close this one. So what message I'm trying to deliver is that we should gradually grow towards becoming a Niskama Karma Yoga. Niskama Karma Yogi who live completely for Krishna as taught in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, we have a chart here, talks about three levels of action in life. If you see the material life, people act only for themselves. They think they are the doer, they don't care about the God. They just hope for heaven, That's what in a materialistic life. If you see in a Karma Kanda, they are still selfish, but not, they have some faith in God, but people follow rituals to get good results. Okay, if I do four times parikrama of this plant, maybe I'll get a boy child or maybe a girl child. So, sometimes you have seen in temples they have a tree. They try to put some rope and tie it. So I'm not saying it's superstitious. I'm just telling you, in what category we fall. They still think they are the doer, but use God to fulfill their desire. So goal is like mostly selfish. Heavenly kind of a heavenly platform. Then we spoke about the last part, karma yoga. Selfless action. A person knows that he is not a doer. God, he works only to serve God, not for the reward. He aims for moksha, salvation, not for even heaven also. And he becomes free from all sin and he has a lot of respect. What is it? Full of gratitude. So what I meant to conclude here is that a journey moves from ignorance to knowledge, and from selfishness to selflessness, and from using God to serving God. I repeat, from using God to serving God. Now, I'll tell you a quick, story. Maybe this will give you a clear attachment, whether are we still attached or not attached. This story of a monkey, in a certain country, we see that people are have very clever way of catching monkeys. I'm sure you also may be knowing, they would, example, let's say there is a kind of a glass, a bottle glass with a narrow neck, and what they do is they put some groundnuts, peanuts, you see the monkeys are very curious. What they do, they put their hand in the bottle, and they grab the groundnuts, but because now they've grabbed the groundnuts, the fist becomes very big, very easily they drop the hand, but when they grab the groundnut, the hand becomes too big, fist becomes big, and they want to pull out, then it's not coming. And that is the time, this hunter, he comes to catch the monkey, So to escape, simply they need to let go. See, if the monkey want to escape, just let go. Just drop the peanuts, remove your hand and go. But they don't want to. Why? Because that's the mentality of a monkey. Even when they see the hunter is approaching, they refuse to release the peanuts. As a result, they are caught and trapped. So that's why, monkey, our mind is like a monkey. Why? Because we are chanchala. I want this, I want this. Why? Mera marzi. No, we should not become like a monkey. Monkey is very agitating. Have you ever seen monkey sitting at one branch for a longer time? No, it keeps on hopping, from here to there, from there to here. So even our mind also is like that. So what I mean to say from this story is that we are like that of monkeys, because the groundnut represent the material desire and attachment, like wealth, fame, name, pleasure, and that bottle is compared to a world. It binds us when it's grasped. So what I'm going to share is that though we know that this temporary pleasure will lead to suffering, karma, and even Emraj, who depth of judgment, even he will still can't let it go. We know that there's a problem, still we don't leave it. Why? Because we have an attachment. So we have to just give it up. Then actually Krishna is teaching in this chapter 3 that attachment to the fruit of action binds us. Just as a monkey is bound by its greed. So we should not have so much of greed. Then give it up. Then it is very simple. Just let it go. When you say let it go, then what happens? Act without attachment. Surrender your result to Krishna. Then we become free. So the message what I'm trying to convey in this kind of short story I told you, that let it go and be free. Because true freedom comes when we stop clinging to the temporary pleasure and seek for the eternal. Don't be like a monkey, just be like a yogi. That's why the best thing is Nishkama Karma Yogi, because he's fully surrendered. He works only for the God's happiness and he's not selfish, because that is what I'm trying to convey here. Now, let us look at the next slide, which is very important. It talks about leadership, right? So chapter 3.21, it's a very memorable, memorizing sloka. You can also try to make a note of this. It says, Yet acharati shreshtas, tattat evatru janaha, sayat pramanam kurute, lokastat anuvartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common man follow. And whatever standard he sets, by exemplary act, all the world pursues. So what I meant to say is, who is a leader? The leader is a person who wants to first lead himself and then lead others. But what is happening now? People don't want to lead others. Sorry, they don't want to lead themselves. They want to lead others. No, they want to lead others. You do this, you do this, you do this. They don't set example, but they want to lead others. No, Arjuna clearly mentions that first you set a role model. When you have respect, then people also give respect. But when we don't have any respect to others, how do we expect respect for ourselves, right? So Krishna highlights that society that we are following is the example set by leaders and influencers. If they act rightly, society will benefit. If not, society may degrade. So what I mean to say is that we see a lot of politicians nowadays. Some politicians, they are self-centered, money-minded, no Vedic kind of lifestyle at all. And if you see actors and celebrities, they want to pursue fame and wealth. Following, you see, we follow all these actors, but are we getting anything? No, we're getting nothing. They're just imitation, right? And what about the sports people? They have discipline, they have skill. I agree with that. But watching them endlessly is just a waste of a time. Whole day you're watching, cricket match, football. What are you getting? Are you physically doing something? No, you're just sitting at home eating popcorn, and just seeing. So it's a waste of a time. And also mainly I want to talk about the Swamijis. Today's we have swindlers. Today we also have cheaters. So not all are genuine. Don't think that okay, I'm wearing saffron, I'm a genuine. No, we have to discriminate. We have to know what is right, what is wrong. Because many people they give a lot of Bhagavad Saptas. Why they want to earn money? This is now papi pet ke sawal just to make their livelihood. No, they do give kathas. But sometimes they misguide people with the rituals. They told you do this one, you do this one, you do this puja, you do this puja, but there's no result. So that is not what we're trying to explain here. A leader means something who follows by example. Same thing even for a sadhu, a sannyasi also, who when he has sadhana strong, he has the purity. The purity is a force, So when you have these things, then whatever you say, there is an impact on the audience. Otherwise, it's like the ISKCON say ISKCON, and we say we are ISKCON. No, it's not. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Now, look at the slide. The leader. Leader means someone who shows a spiritual path. He is a real leader. You should follow and speak about such leaders. Like we see, there are a lot of great acharyas. They are the true leaders. Like we see Adi Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, they are the real leaders because their life is selfless. They always give spiritual wisdom to elevate humanity. They made hippies into happies, and they practice what they do. They practice what they preach, they practice what they set example to others. So we could see that they're always in a God consciousness. They have no personal profit, no such agendas. So they are the true leaders. Because why I'm emphasizing this? Because parents must be an example for children, because we send our children to schools, big, big schools, thinking that no, the child will do good. No, 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 no. That's a misconception. You set example. When you are doing great, automatically the children also will do great. Now, father, mother not coming in the morning program. That doesn't mean you can expect your child come to the morning program. No, no, no. First, parents have to set example. That's why leader means one who first lead himself, then lead others. He is a leader. You can't just tell you do this, you do this. That's possible? No, it becomes impossible. So, what summary I'm trying to make this very easier that we must cultivate a good behavior. I mean to say, we must choose leaders very carefully, not just those who are very famous, but those who live with truth, integrity, and a spiritual depth. And more importantly, we ourselves must become a leader. I want all of you to become a leader in our homes, in the work, in communities, by living what we expect from others. So now I have a question for you all. Who should we accept as a true leader? We have to follow acharyas because they set by example. So the last part is real enemy. Who is our real enemy? Arjuna is asking, oh Krishna, what makes a person commit sinful acts even if they don't want to? He feels like they are forced to do against their will. Some people say, they don't want to do wrong things, but still they end up doing the same thing. They mess themselves. So what is that force that pushes them to sin? It's a very big question, brilliant question. It's like if we can get answer for this question, I think we all can take a deep breath and we say, wow, this is important. Who's our real enemy? I'll just read the sloka and translation. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samadbhavaha Mahashana Mahapapma Vidya Enama Vairinam. The Supreme Personality of God had said it is lust only, Arjuna, just born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath. Wrath means anger, and which is also all devouring sinful enemy of this world. Oh, that's like very heavy. So, who is our real enemy? Arjuna asked Krishna, why do people commit sin even when they don't want it? What forces them? And Krishna is saying, it is our own desire, it is our own karma, that is our real enemy. When our desire is not fulfilled, what happens? We get anger. Anger comes. Both of this inside and outside. I'll give an example. You would have heard the scriptures of story of Ajamila. Yeah? He was once a good man who served his father, but one day in the forest he saw a woman and he got attracted. Now the desire of enjoying, he started doing bad things just to satisfy his desire, even stealing, even hurting others. So our real enemy is not outside. It's not outside, not other people or any family members. It is our own uncontrolled desire and anger. So even in the Bhagavatam, when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, where is my enemy? Prahlad very calm, peacefully said, Father, don't look outside. The enemy is inside. Try to control that first. Even the Ajamil did many sins. In the end, he chanted the name Narayana and he saved. This shows that the power of holy name. It can free us from all kind of bad karmas. Now, what is our real enemy according to the Gita? Our own desire and anger. So I'll give you a small story before I wind up this today's session. It's about a bird and the hunter and the wise Swamis. Once a wise Swami was sitting peacefully in meditation in the forest. Around him there were many birds gathered every day. They loved and listened to this calm voice of a wise. So the Babaji was sitting and doing meditation. A lot of birds used to come, and there was a correspondence. So they were like, he built up the rapport with the birds, and bird would listen to him. So one day, this Swamiji said, birds, listen carefully. In fact, the one day, Swamiji started telling, dear birds, in the next forest, there's a hunter. He is lying a trap. So be careful. So when he sprinkles some grains and ground, don't get attracted because, you may want to eat, but you will be caught in the net, and please don't go there. These birds, were so joyful, Oh, really? They even made a song of that, Oh, okay. There is a hunter. He lays in the grain. Don't get trapped or don't get fly in the chains or something like that, no. But they were just imitating, What happened? Despite knowing everything, they flew straight into the hunter's trap and saw the grain. They forgot the warning. They start eating and they were caught. So what I meant to say that we are like those birds. We hear about karma, we heard about birth, death, we heard about we're not this body, we are soul. We know the dangers of mental entangle. We even chant, read scriptures, we speak all philosophical, but when temptation comes, we are often ignored wisdom. We get trapped in sense gratification. So this is what Lord Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, that the world is temporary. Pleasure all temporary. Attachment leads to bondage. Yet we still chase the grain, knowing Yamaraj is still watching. So what I meant to conclude is that knowing is not enough. Living the knowledge is a real wisdom. Just like birds who sang, but still they fall in the same trap. We must be very vigilant, detached, and self-control. Only then we can escape the hunter's net and attain freedom. So these are the main points I want to share. So today, I want to do a quick summary about what all we discussed. So we discuss about the karmic bond. This chapter, Lord Krishna explains the importance of selfless action. Arjuna is confused about whether renunciation or action is better, and Krishna clarifies that performing one's duty without attachment is superior. That's a karmic bond. So we must act according to divine guidance by the Lord. Doing so ensures that we are not bound by the karma and ultimately leads liberation. I'm going a little fast now. Then we spoke about stages of life. We also discussed about different stages of life like karmi, karma kanda, and karma yogi. So we could see that generally what happens, we have to understand that the two divisions in the karma yoga. What was that? Niskama karma yoga and sakama karma yoga. Eventually, we should gradually grow up to become Niskama karma yogi. Why? Because we can live completely free for Krishna and as taught in the Bhagavad Gita. Then we spoke about leaders, who are the true leaders. Then we spoke about today's leaders. Leaders means someone who follow the spiritual path. He is a real leader. We must choose leaders carefully, not just those who are very famous, but those who live with the truth, integrity, their spiritual practice, and they are the real leaders. Because more importantly, I was telling we ourselves should become a true leaders in our homes, works, communities by living what we expect from others. And finally, we spoke about very important thing, the real enemy. Finally, we spoke about the real enemy. Krishna explains to Arjuna, it is our own desire. That's a real enemy, So if your desire is not inclined towards the God's path, God's instruction, then we are in trouble. So when a desire is not fulfilled, we get angry. Both, both of this is inside and outside. But our real enemy is not outside. As I'm telling you, not outside, not other people, not family members. It is our own uncontrolled desire and anger. So what I'm up to here. So what I'm going to say is that we can see how do we find and defeat this enemy. We're getting a conclusion for this. Should take Krishna Prasadam, because see that in the slide it says so somebody is chanting, somebody is reading Bhagavad Gita. So when you take Krishna Prasad, what happens? It purifies the mind. All your senses will come in control. And when you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it purifies the mind. But when you take Krishna Prasadam, your senses will be under control. All right. And also, when you chant the Lord's name, what happens? You get that, what do you say? Adhyatmik balam, you get that strength, you get the strength where you can control your mind nicely. And finally, if you read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, it purifies our intelligence. I mean to say, our buddhi, it's get controlled. That's the Adhyatmik balam. So, tomorrow's class is very, very important. We will learn about what is mantra, why this ISKCON people always say Hare Krishna mantra, always Hare Krishna mantra. We'll know about why Hare Krishna mantra is so special among all mantras, and also how it helps us to free from this karma, akarma, and vikarma. Very important, the karma, akarma, vikarma. How it helps us to free from this. So please don't miss tomorrow's session, and it's very important. So tomorrow's session very special. It's called transcendental knowledge.